Welcome to Big Little Stories. I'm Ivy Sharmetz. My guest today is a four-time Olympian whose legendary career is redefining what longevity, discipline, and inspiration looks like, not just in sports, but also in life. Joetta's work is about empowerment, wellness, reinvention, and helping people of all ages show up fully for themselves on the track in business and in the everyday moments that shape who we become. Joetta, thank you so much for being here. Have long been a fan of yours. I know we know each other a little bit, and I just appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today.
But thank you for having me on your show, and thank you for those kind words. Flattery gets you everywhere, Ivory.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We're going to start with some breaking news because we are taping the show on a Monday. And just yesterday, you set the Masters American record at the 200 meter in the 60 to 64 category. Congratulations. What does that feel like to still be breaking records at this part of your career?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I think that for what I'm doing now in this phase of my life, to be able to move at the rate that I'm running at and setting American records is special. But for me, it's a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that if you take care of yourself and make fitness a lifestyle, you might not set an American record, but you can set a record for yourself. And I'm happy that I'm able to set the American record. But more importantly, I'm able to get up and be active and still do some of the things I used to do when I was at my top peak conditioning. I may not be able to go as fast as I used to. Many of us aren't at this age, but the fact that I can still go out there and compete is exciting.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've been an athlete your entire life, right? In high school, you grew up in Newark and South Orange. In high school, you never lost a race, right? You never lost the 800, I think.
That's
You
correct.
were you were the only athlete in New Jersey to win all groups title for 4 straight years. I think you still hold the state's 800 meter outdoor record. How did you come to this? How did you know you had this athletic ability?
Well, I did not know that. If you go back in time to the mid 60s, my father, the late great Dr. Joe Clark, and my mother, Jetta Clark, my father pushed me into that event. Back then, Title IX was not out. There were not many sports for men and women.
Yeah.
And you had track, you had basketball, tennis, swimming, and that was basically all we had. And when I got a little older, say maybe 11, 12, I started running. But prior to that, I did other activities. I played tennis, I danced for the Alley Junior dance team, and I also bowled and I did a lot of other things. But when I got into high school, it was really cool because I was beating the boys. And I said,
Wow.
oh, this is cool. I'm beating the boys and I'm running fast, and this is going to be my niche. So from 19, I would say 68 until I retired in 2000, I ran track and field.
So you talk about retiring, and I think this is something that's so fascinating. You had this amazing, decorated career, right? We said four-time Olympian. You were ranked top 10 in the world. You were an 11-time U.S. national champion. Then you retire for a little more than 20 years. Then you
Yes.
come back. How were you able to come back at such an elite level? Because it's easy to say that you're doing this and it's fun to congratulate you about it, but when you think about the work, especially after being out of the game for 20 years, what do you attribute that to?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, it's about having a lifestyle of fitness.
Yeah.
And we have a company called Joetta Fitness,
Yep.
and we believe fitness is a lifestyle. So because of that, I stayed in shape. Now, I wasn't in shape to race, but I was in shape. My body was fine, my mind was fine, my spirit was fine. And then when my daughter, Talitha, she asked me to run, she wanted to see me run. She had never seen me run because when I retired, I was 38 and I had her at 40. And 25 years later, I said, okay, I will try to run this 200 in Gainesville, Florida. She graduated from the University of Florida, which is in Gainesville, Florida. My father lived in Gainesville, Florida, and he's buried in Gainesville, Florida.
Mm.
And the meet was in Gainesville, Florida. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go and run this race. And when I ran last year, I ran, I won, and I set an American record. And I said earlier, Ivy, it's not about being a champion and coming in first place. It's about competing at the level where I am now. And it just so happens that I've been given the talent to still be able to push the envelope a little bit, and I'm having fun doing it.
So you mentioned Joe Time Fitness. Talk to me about that and how you decided that all of this greatness was something that you would be able to share with people in a very life changing way. And you mentioned the philosophy is fitness is a lifestyle.
Right. Well, I think that because the company Joetta is supposed to be on has a bunch of different umbrellas underneath it, from fitness to school programs to speaking on a corporate level,
Yeah.
speaking for colleges. And then we added, my partner and I added, Tyrone added Joe Time Fitness. And Joe Time stands for Joe and TY for Tyrone and Move Every Day.
Mm.
And we want to focus on school kids and colleges. But then, guess who turned 60? Well, I'm now almost 64, but at 60, we were like, you know what? Let's target people that are our age.
Yeah.
So Joe Time one, but we're targeting people in 60 and up. And we have different levels, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And our goal is to make sure that you have a healthy lifestyle. What you do 20 years before that age, so right now I'm 64. So what I do now, it goes forward to 84. And
Wow.
I think people don't realize that what you're doing at this point in your life, it affects later on. So we want to have people have great qualities, health, fitness, and also make sure that you have your spirit right.
The thing that amazes me about the work that you do with Joe Time Fitness is you're very accomplished. You're a very elite athlete. On paper, I would think it could be very intimidating to come to you to teach me about fitness. But when you watch, when you see the work that you do, and especially when you watch the videos that you make, you are so welcoming and so inviting and so inclusive and so kind that you make it seem like it really is something that everyone can get involved with. I know that that was done by design, but why is that so important to you to make it something for everyone?
Well, I thank you for saying that. I think that one thing you said, I'm very welcoming,
Yeah,
and that wasn't by design. That's who I am.
yeah, that's true.
And because that's who I am, it comes across very easy. But I want people to realize that health is so important. We are always taking care of everybody. And us being the sandwich generation where we take care of our parents and then our kids and then ourselves, so we're in the middle. So it's important that I make sure that we are doing that, making sure that we're healthy for ourselves so we can be healthier for other people. And I enjoy the fitness tips that I do. Look, the reality is I cannot do as many that I used to do or as fast, but I can still do something. And that's what we want you to do at Joe Time Fitness. It's not about doing what I do. It's about improving on where you were and
Yeah,
then where you're going to be. And if you see progress, that's great. That makes you a champion. Champions are champions because they stay in there long enough to see progress and to get results. If you bail out earlier, you're not a champion. Champions have to be able to endure. And at Joe Time Fitness, you have to be able to endure the workouts, the regimens, and also showing up. We show up for everybody else. Now it's time for you to show up for yourself.
and you alluded to this earlier, but I know you believe very strongly that movement is medicine. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So often when we wake up, the first thing we do is get on our phones and get on
Yeah,
with our day. And I think that it's important for you to get grounded. So whatever grounds you, and then you get your movement. When you're lying in the bed and thinking about what you have to do, you get drained. But once you get up and be, move forward, the movement propels you to do great things. So we want you to be able to move into your greater self. And you cannot do that by complaining, by comparing, and about, having what we call pity parties for yourself. Every day is not going to be a great day. Every second is not going to be a great second. But it's great because you're still alive to make it better. And so if better is possible, good is not enough. And I say that because better is always possible. So
mm,
once you get good and get better, and again, champions have the ability to do that. And I want everyone to move and to feel as though it's a lifestyle. You're not doing it to get into a swimsuit or into a wedding gown or because you're going to go back to your high school reunion. You're doing who you are, and it should be input in your spirit.
so you talked about how old you are. Um, I would you have such confidence, and I would say even as you're getting older, you're becoming more confident and even seeming more comfortable in your skin. How do you achieve that? Where does that come from? Especially for women, I think women as they get older, it's sometimes harder to find that core of confidence.
Yeah. I think so often we don't have the confidence that we need because we're comparing to everybody else.
Mm,
And we've done a lot of great things in our lifetime. But what we tend to do is look what everyone else is doing. And we forget to look at what we're doing. So I'm not doing what you're doing, and you're not going to do what I am doing, but you still have done great things. So as we get older, we should get more confident because we've already done so many amazing things.
yeah,
And it's time for you to sit down and journal and write down what you've done, what you've accomplished. So when you're having those days of self doubt, you can look at what you've accomplished and that propels you to do more. And I think that I always say you have to have your strategy, have your skill sets, and have staying power. So as we get older, what's the strategy now? What are we going to do now in the third quarter of our lives, right? So what's the strategy? And then what are your skill sets? What do you have that makes you the person that you want to be?
yeah.
And then you have to have staying power. You can't give up on yourself. I say you can doubt anybody else you want in the world, but never doubt yourself. So with my three S's, you have to have a strategy, know your skill sets, and have staying power. And if you do that, then lifestyle and health and wellness and fitness and your mental mindset will be fine.
How much of fitness is mental versus physical?
Well, I think the physical part of it is important because if you cannot do certain things mentally, it affects you.
Sure.
So I think I don't know the percentage, but I will say that whatever your body is doing and wherever you are in your space, you can do things. You may not be able to jump, but you can do things in the chair. You can go to a pool. You can ride a bike. There are different activities that you can do. Um, if depending on what your body is like. So I think that once you identify that, then mentally you have to stay in power to
Mm,
execute a plan for where you are. And that's what we do at Showtime Fitness. We help people get plans that meets them where they are in their life, in their
yeah.
fitness journey, in their health and wellness journey. And we help you overcome all of the obstacles. Again, I say it all the time. It's not about being an Olympian. It's about being the champion of your life. And how
I
do
love
you
it.
do that? You do that one by identifying what you want to have happen, and then put the work in to accomplish the goal.
That's amazing. We're going to take a very short break. We're going to have more with Joetta when we come back. We'll be right back. So Joetta, you're an author, you're an entrepreneur, you're a motivational speaker, you're an elite athlete. I've been fortunate enough to be in the room and watch you give keynote speeches that are always very beautifully received and inspiring. Do you approach all of these endeavors in your life the same way you approach athletics? Is everything that athlete mentality?
Yes, it is because I had my book called Joetta's P Principles for Success: Life Lessons Learned in Track and
Mm-hmm.
Field. And track and field parallels business. And what I have done as an athlete, I can use those same strategies and skills to be a professional in business, a speaker, a motivator, someone that wants to have people change their lives. And when I'm doing an event, if it's corporate, college, high school, whatever event I'm doing, I'm prepared. But more importantly, I want them to understand that you have to have your six P's, have a
Mm,
purpose, get prepared, be patient, get perturbed, persevere, and pray. And that's what you need in sports and also in business and also in life. So when I approach my speaking engagements, when I approach my community events, it's approached with the same mindset as an athlete, where I'm trying to not only excel for myself, but to help others excel. So often in life, it's all about what we can do for ourselves, and
yeah.
we don't reach back and try and help everybody else. So for me, in order for me to be a success in my space, is I'm successful if I can help others. Who have I reached? Who have I taught something? Who have I given a smile to? Who have I encouraged? And that is what I need to inspire me. I have a cup that's full, and when my cup spills over into the saucer, you still get good water. You get the water in the cup is the water in the saucer. And so I have to make sure that I am putting good stuff in myself so I can have good flows for everybody else. And when I get that energy and I get that flow going, it's amazing. That's what I want to do as a speaker, is to be an impact speaker. So when I'm gone, whatever I left you with, you can apply it to your life when I'm not there. And I think a lot of people talk, and when they leave people empty. And when I leave, I want to leave you full of
Yeah.
advice, full of hope, full of passion, and most importantly, full of energy, so you can go out and aspire to be the best that you can be, even at this age when we have our AARP card.
I don't have mine just yet. I'm close, but not
Not
almost,
yet. Oh,
almost,
it's
almost.
coming.
So you talk about how you work with professionals, and you do this under, you have something called the Joetta effect, right? And you
Yes.
help professionals handle and navigate difficult situations, and it's part of this. Talk to me about what the Joetta effect is, and I feel like you probably just touched on it a little bit, but just let's dive into that because it's so interesting to me.
Well, the Jordan effect has different levels, and but the main thing is that we want you to understand that you're not going to be who you want to be in one day. That takes You have stages, and the
Mm,
Joetta effect. The main goal that we want you to be able to achieve with this program is that we're going to give you a template. We're going to go over information with you, and at the end of the day, if you believe in what we're saying, and if you are willing to remain focused, that means follow one course until successful. If you're able to do that, then the Joetta effect will get imbued in your spirit and in your mind, and then you can do that when I'm not there. So often,
mm,
again, when we go speak, we leave people and they have nothing. But the Joetta effect, what is the effect of having Joetta there? The effect of having Joetta there, the Joetta effect is that it's now part of who you are.
mm.
So if I'm not there, you still know what it feels like to go graduate college, to redefine your life, to transform your life. No, you have information that will keep you healthy. You have information that will make you feel good, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So that is what the Joetta effect is about. It's an effect that Joetta brings, but the effect is life, a life lesson for longevity.
Yeah, and one of the things you talk about is how to turn setbacks into strategy, which
Right.
is such it kind of goes back to the framing that we use in our mind of how we see situations and how we approach how do you turn setbacks into strategy?
Well, that's a good question, Ivy, because once you have a setback, a lot of times you complain, why me? Why did this
Mm,
happen? You doubt who you are. You start blaming everybody. You point the finger. And then remember, you point one finger, you have three or four pointing back at you. So you have to be mindful of that. So when you are trying to overcome this something, the setbacks, what you first have to do is to identify something. And I say you have to analyze, you organize, you initiate, and follow through. So you analyze the setback, right?
yeah.
And then you organize the team, organize your strategies, and then you initiate the plan, and then you follow through. That is what we teach with the Joetta effect for you to do once you have a setback. I haven't won every race in my life. I haven't gotten every grant that I've written. I haven't gotten every speaking event that I've won, and I didn't get all of the honorarium prices that I wanted either. But those setbacks helped me and propelled me to do greater things. It's like a bow and arrow. The further you
Mm,
pull the bow back, the more force it gets to go forward. But when we have our setbacks, we pull, and we are afraid to let go again because we are afraid to fail. So
wow.
you only fail when you fail to get back up. You only fail when you fail to let go of the arrow to see where it will go. And so when we're talking about our setbacks, you analyze, you organize, you initiate, and you follow through. And then that's how you overcome setbacks.
Wow, I've been in rooms with you where you've said, when you point the finger, you have three pointing at you, and I've used that, and I will say that when I use that, I say an Olympian taught me that, so it's
Oh,
very
you
it's
you
very
get
it's very good advice. Um,
yes.
You talk about we should all be the champion in our own lives. How do you define champion? It is. I know it's about getting up when you fail. I know it's about keep going. But what really is the definition of a champion to you?
A champion, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you can say that you made a difference in the lives of other people. And that's a champion, because you're championing something greater than you. Yeah,
Mm,
sure, it's great to get medals in the American records and to get big speaking engagements and get stock options. But at the end of the day, a champion is someone that has made a difference in the
mm,
lives of others.
I love that. I love that. You're an elite athlete. You're a successful businesswoman. You're in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. You have all of these amazing accolades. You're a wonderful mother. What do you want your legacy to be?
That I cared,
Yeah.
that I really care. It was about, it's bigger than me. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how much money you have, the color of your skin, your gender, or where you live. It's about being kind to people and being available. And I
Yeah.
think at this point in my life, I'm kind, I'm available, and I want to make sure that you're better. Sometimes I do things for people, and when I was younger, I'm not going to do this because I'm not going to get that. But now I do it, not now, I mean, for years now, I do something, and
Yeah.
whatever comes my way, comes my way. I'm not going to do something trying to get something back.
Yeah.
And I think with that mindset that I have put into my place in my life, it helps me to be better. It makes me feel better that I'm not doing something to get something. The get back is that I'm getting a smile. I'm getting letters from my kids I've given scholarships to. I'm getting emails from people saying, thank you for speaking at my university or at my company. That's what I'm getting now. It's not about getting recognition. The
Yeah.
only recognition that really matters to me is when I look in the mirror. As that saying goes, you may fool the whole world down the pathways of life and get pats on the back as you pass, but your true reward will be heartache and pain if you trick the person in the glass. And I mean, there's no need for trickery. You
Wow.
show up for yourself and show up to make a difference not only in your life but in the lives of others.
Well, I'll tell you, you have the heart of a champion for sure. Or a champion heart. What's the website for people to get in touch with you?
Yes, I mean, the website is joettasportsandbeyond.com, or you can just type in my name, Joetta, four-time Olympian, and everything comes up, so you can find me that way. I'm available to do speaking events. We are able to put together Showtime fitness health programs for people. We meet you where you are, so whatever your
It's
level
amazing.
is, we can meet you there as well. But joettasportsandbeyond.com is the website.
And as I mentioned, but I'm going to say it again, your keynote speeches are really incredible, and you do leave feeling like something's inspired inside of you. So, Joetta, we end each of these shows with something we call three big little questions, just so we can get to know people a little bit better. We'll do them rapid fire. Are you ready?
I think, no, I don't think I'm ready yet.
You're going to
That's
be ready.
fine.
You're going to be ready. So the first one is, how do you get yourself out of a bad mood?
I'm sorry, it froze on me. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh,
Can you repeat the
sure. How do you get yourself out of a bad mood?
Gosh, how do I get? Well, I think that when I get in a bad mood, I get myself out of it thinking that this is not who I am. I'm not put here to
Mm.
be angry, to be upset for long periods of time. And every now and again, I could do a Haagen-Dazs ice cream
Oh, nice.
or some
Okay.
peanut M&Ms,
See, Olympians are
but you
just
don't
like
overindulge.
Olympians are just like us. Okay. What about what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, I Will Survive
Oh,
by
okay.
Gloria Gaynor.
Okay. And what's your one of your favorite spots in New Jersey? One of your favorite places to go?
Oh, geez. My favorite spot right now is the New Jersey Hall of Fame Museum at the
Of course.
American Mall, where I am there at the museum. That's one of my favorite spots to go. But I also like going down to Atlantic City.
Nice.
Well, not particularly the boardwalk area, but to the shore as
Nice.
well. I
Nice.
had to go to the shore. I always like to go down to Seagoat or Stone Harbor. Those are some of
Nice.
my favorite spots, South
Nice.
Jersey. And then
Uh,
North Jersey, I guess, my hometown.
I'm glad you mentioned the Hall of Fame. It's a beautiful display there, and people should definitely check that out. Joetta, thank you so much. I know you're really busy. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me. I always enjoy it when we get to spend time together. So thank you.
But thank you as well for having me on your show. I'm sure we'll see each other at an event soon.
Very soon. Yes, I look forward to that. I look forward to that. Thank you so much, my friend. And that will do it for today's Big Little Stories. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at Big Little Story Show. I'm Ivy Sharmetz. I'll see you next time.